The podcast is named Destination Unknown unless I decide to change it.
Yeah.
Hence the Destination Unknown.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite, man.
Yeah, so I wanted to share the story about how we met just because I think it's important to be like open. From your side, I'm sure it was just like I walked up to the table and we met. Like, so that's kind of your side of the story. From my side of the story, I was touring this room and I was like, okay, this is dope, whatever. I got in my car and then I saw your booth over there, So Strong Coffee. And I was in the car and I was like, should I go like check it out? Should I not? And then I was like, oh, I just moved to a new city. Like, let's be open. Let's be free. And then went over there and like we chopped it up, met you, met Nikki, like, and just from like being open to the world, here we are a week later. So I just wanted to share that story because I know I feel myself be closed off a lot and I'm just trying to be more open. I feel like when you move to a new city, you can be more open a bit more naturally. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate you sharing that, man. And it was cool when you came up and you just, obviously we kind of connected on the mic thing and the Stevenson Ranch collab. And then you're saying that you moved to a new city. And I remember just going through that when I first moved here, and it is being open and just trying new things. And it is vulnerable as much as even walking up to a booth and just saying what's up. And this city alone has a very collaborative, open mindset. And I do believe in exposure luck. You know that if you expose yourself to as much as you possibly can and just show up and do certain things and go do the hard things. Like the hard thing was to get out of you had to physically get out of your car and go to the booth.
Yeah.
And you do. And then we end up, here, having a conversation just from you doing that. Because if you didn't, it would have been probably, I don't know, weeks. Eventually, maybe the universe would have made us cross again, but the opportunity's there and you take it, you know?
And like, you know, today it might be friendship. Like you do that a different time. It could be meeting your partner. Like just being, just being open is where I'm trying to be. But yeah, just wanted to share that. So let's kick this off. Destination Unknown. To be honest with you, this is a relaunch of a podcast. So I've done like 100 some episodes, but just kind of rebranding it. And so I'm still kind of figuring out where it's going. So you're kind of part of this, like, let's figure out like
it's an honor, the
path of least resistance and what feels natural and all. But tell me a little bit about you as a kid, like growing up, how you were in school. Because like I kind of know, I have a vibe of who you are now, but I'm just curious, like what Kaleb as a kid was like.
Yeah, dude, Kaleb as a kid, a lot of energy, very curious, couldn't sit still. I was definitely labeled probably like the problem kid. You know, I was in trouble a lot. I was always in the principal's office. I was always getting calls home. Nothing like crazy, just my energy. I couldn't sit still. My mind was always racing. I was always doodling. I couldn't. You know, probably some form of ADHD. I was never actually diagnosed, but looking back and just understanding how I was, I love the idea of Destination Unknown. You know, I feel like that was just kind of my life. It was grew up very chaotic. Lots of love as a kid, but just very chaotic. Was always running around. You know, my parents they were both working full time, and I was, you know, home alone a lot, always out running around doing shit. I was always, you know, riding my bikes to different places, and then we'd have football, and then we just, you know, there was a lot going on. It was just chaos all the time. So as a kid, it was very tough to just sit still or be in silence or, you know, I was always constantly doing something. But I fell into physical activity, which was great. So sports, working out at a young age. So I was very driven. I always felt like a little different. I didn't really feel like I related to many kids unless it was sports, but very chaotic, very curious, very, very curious kid with a lot of energy. You know?
I kind of got that vibe, which is why I asked the question. But the only reason I say that I got that vibe is I think a lot of people that kind of do their own thing later in life, like the behaviors that you're punished for in grade school or middle school, you're actually rewarded for
celebrated for your individuality.
Yes.
For sure.
Like later in life, that's when you kind of, because when you're young and you're, you know, kind of like that, you're questioning the teacher. You're not able to focus on math problems almost because you kind of know it's pointless. It's like,
well, it didn't make sense to me. And then, like you said, I was always getting in trouble for asking questions. I'd be like, why? Why is that way? And they're just like, because I said so. And it's just like, that didn't make sense to me. And then it'd be like, I didn't want to do it because I thought it was dumb. Or I'd finish my work. I'd be the first one done with my work. And then I didn't know what to do with myself after. I had one time, my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Farrell, kicked me out of class and forgot about me. Forgot about me all day. I was left outside all day in 6th grade. And then she came in and tried to make me come into class after school. And I said, no. And then she called my mom, and mom lost it on her because she kicked me out. But that's just, nobody wanted to deal with me.
Yeah.
You know, and then I got held back because I was young. So I was really young, and my dad didn't want me to have to go, which benefited me tremendously when I got to high school, because I was young for my grade. And then I got held back, and then I got held back in 6th grade, and then I became normal age, which like if I didn't have my senior year of high school, I don't know what would have happened to me, you know, like as far as athletically and other things like that. Like I don't think college would have been a thing. So it ended up being a huge benefit. But yeah, it was just people didn't take the time to deal with me. So when like I got into coaching or working with kids, I just always make sure that I take the time. I deal with a lot of kids still, or not deal, but I'm blessed to work with a lot of kids that have that hyperactivity like I did. And I just take the time to work with them and teach them some things. And maybe we talk about breathing, and we talk about focus, and just, you know, I have a lot of parents go, yeah, the doctor thinks. I'm like, man, the doctor's gonna want you to think that, you know, he's
just
fine.
Easy prescription.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, it's just, it's interesting, but I'm very blessed to, I think everything that's happened, you know, I'm a firm believer in that it all unfolds the way it's supposed to. Right. Destination unknown.
Let's go.
But yeah, man, it's funny. That's a great question. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, that's kind of the idea of it, is like it unfolds the way it's supposed to unfold. So like on that note, 3rd grade Kaleb or 6th grade Kaleb kicked out of class in the hallway and just waiting. Are you dreaming up strong coffee? Is that
when I was a kid, I think I made the decision when I was probably in like 2nd grade that I was going to go to the NFL. You know, my dad used to take me to the Vikings club when I was a kid. I was a big Minnesota Vikings fan, and we'd go, and from a young age, like attention always loved me, you know, in a weird way. I never looked for it, but I was a kid. I'm on the cover of a newspaper at the Viking club. I'm on a stage speaking in front of a bunch of people when I'm a kid at these events. We're at the grand opening of Fox Sports Grill in Irvine, California, like the grand opening at Deacon Jones, who's a Hall of Fame defensive end. It was his birthday. And I'm in the VIP area bowling with, you know, Roman Gabriel, which is funny because full circle, I'm now really good friends. His son, Roman Gabriel's son, is one of my mentors, Brandon Gabriel, who's an amazing man who just sold his company to Netflix not too long ago.
Wow.
But just crazy full circle moments, but attention always loved me. And when I touched a football, I was like, oh man, like I want to play football for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that's what I was dreaming up. I wore jerseys almost every single day. Every day at recess, I was playing football. I did everything that I could from an early age. You know, my dad was like, hey man, if you want to do this, we'll do this, but it's going to take this, this, and this. And so he instilled kind of that, you know, this is what's going to have to happen. And we did it, you know?
Yeah, dude, athletics, like I'm so thankful that I got into them young age, middle school, high school. Like if you do it in college, it's even next level, but it really does take like discipline, and you know, there's just certain things that you grow up as an athlete and things change. Like, you know, we're both on time today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
totally.
When does that ever happen in the creative space?
Yeah. Structure, discipline, you know, and just the overcoming adversity, you know, and being obsessed with something. Like I was obsessed. I was obsessed. And there was nobody or anything that could have told me that I wasn't going to do what I went and did. You know, like it gave me an unwavering faith. It showed me spirituality. It showed me a lot of different things that unfolded throughout the athletics career. That it showed me I think the most important thing it showed me was the compound effect of like small things daily add up over time to become huge, right? You know, progress. And And it's just, I mean, that's something that my dad definitely instilled in me as a kid, was like, we went and ran hills every single day after school, after he was just digging holes from 5 a.m.
So
to
he
5
put in the
p.m.
work too.
Yeah. My dad was very blue collar. My family very blue collared. Like, my mom was a nurse, is still a nurse, labor delivery nurse. My dad is still at the water district, but just blue collared. And his whole thing was like, I'm going to try to set you up so that you don't have to go through what I go through every day. And it was just digging holes and fucking just, it was work, man. And he'd come take me out. We'd go run hills after he got off work, and it's just every single day there was something to do, whether it was catching balls, whether it was whatever the case was, because I was slow. I didn't have good hands and I wanted to go do something. It was like, well, hey man, a lot needs to change. Yeah. We got a lot to do. And we went and we did it,
I love the compounding effect, like the compounding effect of just doing the right next thing. Doing the right next thing and staying consistent. I mean, I was talking about it last week on the podcast. It's like in this creative world, when you start, like the algorithm doesn't reward new users. It really doesn't, unless it's something crazy. But like you have to put in the work. And I was telling him, like, it's crazy how I can feel ungrateful when a podcast only gets 300 views, because that's 300 people. If I were to speak to an auditorium of 300 people, I wouldn't feel ungrateful at all.
Wow, give me goosebumps.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like the numbers thing in social media kind of has our brains fucked up in every way possible.
Totally.
Relationships, what a relationship should be, what success is, like how much attention from people we need. I think all of that kind of social media fucks us up with that.
Totally.
Like, yeah.
I think that was an interesting take. Like if I was speaking to an auditorium, 300 people. Yeah, and we do take for granted, because it is the word of mouth and the compound effect of that. You don't know who sees you.
Yeah.
Right? There's no telling who saw that clip. Because that one clip, that person goes and tells another person, that tells another person, that now it's in front of the CEO of Netflix, in front of now you're there's that's destination unknown, is doing that work and the compound effect of consistency showing up. Because there's been many days, even recently, where I almost didn't go to jiu-jitsu last week on a Monday, and that was the day I got promoted. And it's just like, so that's happened to me so many times in life, of not knowing who's watching, or the day I didn't really want to go do it, but I showed up anyway, something amazing happened.
Yep.
And I think that's the resistance. The War of Art's a really good book that I love by Stephen Pressfield, that talks about resistance, and that, like, almost when the fear, and I battle with that a lot. Is this my inner bitch talking, or is this real? Do I really need to rest because my body needs it? Or am I just kind of, so there's that thin line. And there is opportunity cost for everything. Or do you want to be 1% like Kobe Bryant? Well,
right. That's a little psycho mode.
It is psycho. But if that's what you want, then there is cost of that. You can't take a day off, right?
Right.
And then so I just think it's interesting once you find your harmony and what you want and what you prioritize in your life. And it's once you're done with sports, which has been, something to adapt to the last couple of years of, trying to start a family, doing different types of things. It's like you have to start to shift your priorities. It's not just football every day, and that's the main priority. So it is interesting. But yeah, social media, when you talk about numbers and stuff, definitely does have it a little fucked up.
Yeah, it does, man. And I would love to get to the point where I'm just posting, and I think they call it posting and ghosting.
Posting and ghosting.
For now, I'm a little addicted to it. But So like you said there, well, first of all, congratulations on your promotion.
Thank you. Yeah,
awesome.
I've been a white belt for like 15 years,
hey,
just on and off. I bounced around different gyms for a long time. I never really had a home, and then I've been at Gracie Baja in Dripping Springs, Professor Max and Professor Arian. They're awesome guys, and Professor Max gave me 3 stripes the other day, and he's like, "Let me catch you up," and I was like, "Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that," because like it was. I needed a little reassurance in that realm a little bit. I was like, man, I would like a stripe, here at some point. Yeah.
I did one day of jiu-jitsu. I was like, this is not for me. We were practicing headlocks, and I was like, dude, like just getting choked out for hour.
It's an intimidating thing, man. Jiu-jitsu is definitely a little uncomfortable. I could, even when you go to a new gym, it's not fun. Like even if you've been a little experienced, it's like, going to a new gym sometimes can be a little intimidating. It's just intimidating. Martial arts in general, I think, has that.
Very, very, very rewarding. But I love what you said there about how, like when you do the right thing, this is kind of like a summary of what you said, but when you do the right thing, the right things come into your life.
Totally. It's attracting.
And, dude, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I believe in the law of attraction, but it's kind of hard to deny because.
Yeah. Why don't you believe in it?
I don't know if I believe in it.
Oh, don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know if I do. Like as I'm saying this, it's kind of hard to say that I don't believe in it because I guess I would find myself probably in the middle. Like I probably don't think that if you just think about it all the time, it's going to happen. But if you think about it and like do the right things, take the right actions, then I probably do on a long enough timeline. If you're actually doing the right things and putting in the work and being open and willing to adjust and all of that.
Totally. I don't think it's you're sitting here just like, oh, I'm attracting it as we speak. It is waking up daily, doing the hard things, whatever the hard thing is for you. And for me, it's trying to be in as tune as I can with my body, myself, and going, okay, what does Kaleb need today?
Mm-hmm.
Does Kaleb need to go work out? Does Kaleb need to do this? Does Kaleb need to eat this? And just all the little things that lead to those big moments. And I do believe in everything that you think comes true, like good or bad, whatever we're focusing on energetically. You know, I think I love Destination Unknown because I live there. I live in a delusional state of mind, like in the sense that I have an unwavering confidence that I can do literally anything. And I'm going to make it happen, whatever it is that I want to do. Me and my buddy Luke have this word, like figure it out-ofness, like your ability to figure it the fuck out. Regardless. Oh, the front door is locked. Well, I'll go through the back door. The back door is locked. I'll find a side door. You know, like, and that's just what I think manifesting is like you still have to do the work. You still have to, attracting it is, being in position and in alignment, like vibrationally, right, to receive it. Mm-hmm. You have to meet it where it's at. And I just try to function in the realm that I already have it. Like if I'm reading this book called The Power of Awareness, and it gives tangible tools about the law of attraction, of just literally saying, live as if that wish is fulfilled. So whatever it is that you want, and focus on the feeling of having it. Don't focus on the thing. What would it feel like to be a multimillionaire? What would it feel like for this podcast to have millions of views, and how would you walk, talk, act? And that's what attracts it. Then you start to become it. It's like fake it till you become it, but like actually you are it.
Yeah. I think that's the important part, right? It's not even like fake it. Mm-hmm. It's just, this is who I am.
You're it.
And I have these habits, and these habits turn into what it is. So it's like, if you're as good as LeBron James at basketball, like then you're as good as LeBron James at basketball, and you get paid what LeBron James gets paid. Like
totally.
It's kind of that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And consistency is probably the thing that I've struggled with the most, whether it be working out, whether it be podcasting, whether it be whatever. Like, what are your thoughts on like staying consistent? And
man, it's funny. I have more grace for parents, my own parents, Adam, our CEO at Strong Coffee. Like, hey, I think about him daily. When I come home and I'm tired and maybe it's my night to cook. We have specific nights when we cook dinner, like Mondays are my nights, but some Mondays I'm fucking exhausted. I'm like, but some people have to come home to their kids, you know, and it's like they have, Adam has 2 kids to play with at the end of the day, so it's just, there's consistency on different levels. I think consistency is what success ultimately is. I think the people that just continue to show up, it's inevitable, and whatever that is. And you're also human. I like to give myself grace, but I think consistency for me changes each season.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because I'm a big season guy.
Dude, yeah, we can't be like, you're not 100% all the time, you know? Like you can't.
And you have to reprioritize what's important. Like
totally.
Sometimes your relationship is going to be number one. Like, hey, this needs the most focus right now. Sometimes it's going to be like spirituality. Sometimes it's going to be the day job. Sometimes it's going to be whatever. I think, I'm glad you said that, man, because I think a lot of people always think it's like this or that.
Yeah, it's never black or white, man. This is like, there's a reality that's happening that is ever changing. The world is unknown. We don't know what's going to happen in the next moment, tomorrow. Like I think you talked about planning, right? Your idea. That's why this whole thing, I think you have to have a plan, a result, a desired result or wish or whatever the hell is that you see it happening, but I'm not controlling how I get there. I think there's certain things that have to get done. But yeah, like you said, prioritizing, there's non-negotiables. And for me now, it's like, I call it my pre-dad era. Like I'm trying to act as if we have a family, we have kids, because what's that going to be like? You know, if I don't go to jiu-jitsu class at 6:30 a.m., I'm not getting it in that day. You're not going. Yeah, if I'm not waking up at 5 to go to the gym, I'm not getting it in. And that's just the reality of the situation. So I think we just have to make time for the things that we prioritize, you know, because, but consistency's hard. There's days where you don't want to fucking go. And it's just what's more important to you that day. You know, like I don't necessarily want to, I'm not training to be, I'm not playing football anymore, right? If I was a professional athlete, my priorities would be a little bit different, right? So I think it's seasonal. And like you said, what's coming up in your life right now? What's the focus, you know?
And I think, you know, relying on motivation is probably one of the motivation or inspiration. That's probably one of the worst things that we can do. And I get it, because that's the most exciting feeling. That's the sexy feeling. That's, dude, I have this podcast idea. I have this idea. Like, that's the sexy part. And I've been trying to be careful about that lately, of even telling people. Oh, yeah. Because I don't want, like Huberman talks about this, where he's like, you get more dopamine from telling people your plans than you do from like grinding on it. And that's scary.
It is scary.
Because that reward system is, our reward system, its main goal is to fuck us pretty much, like in the modern world. Yeah. In like history, I think it was very beneficial to us, like chop wood, find food, start a fire. But now it's Facebook notification, the noise when you're gambling, like it's so thrilling and exciting when you're in Vegas. The world's just created to like motivate us in the wrong ways.
Yeah, fake dopamine. For sure. That reward system and telling people your plans, that's something that Nikki and I have talked about a lot, of just keep it more internal and just kind of chop away at it daily, as opposed to telling people what you're going to do, because it's energetic. Because it's not everybody has the same reciprocity or the energy of your idea. Because I'm excited to tell you something, you're like, what? And I'm like, you know,
it can like throw doubt.
Totally. Well, it starts to the negative, or like loose lips sink ships idea, right? Like you're telling everybody, and then it just, you keep it yours and set those boundaries energetically, which has been very beneficial. Yeah, man, I think, and just doing it. Just showing it, because you don't want to be labeled as that guy that just has all these ideas but doesn't execute, because that is the sexy part, is coming up and being the creative.
Dude, so many people are the idea guy or the idea woman.
Yeah, like, everybody has a fucking idea, dude, but the person that actually executes it, and that's something that I've had to really learn. I was the idea guy for a long time, and I'd rely on, you know, my buddy Luke to be more of the executioner, you know, in the sense. And I've had to really take these last couple of years to learn business and how to actually execute and how to do things. Like, you know, you've done certain things, but the consistency of it and the level at which it's done to grow and scale, like when it's not sexy and that motivation fades, like that's who you really are, right? That's at the end of the day, who your true character is when nothing's going your way or you don't feel good that day. And like, how are you showing up, you know? And are you going to do the things that you said you were going to do? You know, that's something that, and that goes from, you know, certain mouth routines that we have in the morning or at night, like the little things, like those are the things that start to sink the boat. Me not doing the thing that I said I was going to do. Maybe it was taking out the trash. Maybe it was doing the dishes. Like that seeps in, you know? And I think those are the reps that it takes of the compound effect. Like how you do anything is how you do everything. And it's fucking hard. Like I fuck up daily.
Yeah,
like,
we all do.
And multiple times. And it's like, and I have a really bad habit of going down a rabbit hole of like, I hate dropping a ball. Like when I relate to football, dude, it would eat me. Like I didn't drop the ball. I think my senior year, my whole fall camp, 0 drops. I recorded it, right? Like I wrote in my journal every day, don't drop a fucking ball today.
That was your thing.
That was my thing. I don't drop the ball. I can't drop a ball. I don't have the luxury of dropping a fucking football.
You're
I am
reliable.
a 5'9", 180-pound white dude. That's even blessed to see a football field, right? I can't drop a ball. So when I do drop a ball, it was like the end of the world to me, right? And so that's been my thing my whole life, is like not letting one drop dictate the rest of the game, dictate next week's game, and let it eat me up. It's like play the next play. And that's with life too, man. I still struggle with that. Like if I make a promise to Nikki and I don't follow through, if I made a promise to somebody to do something and I forgot about it, or, you know, it's like, okay, be better about your promises and what you say you're going to do, and just be more intentional with everything. And that comes from being present, which is hard as a creative, quote unquote, and being the idea guy. So that's when I've started to switch from like loving to be called this creative and this idea guy to being a guy that just gets fucking shit done.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that, man. Like you have to do that. And if you saw the clip from last week that I put out, it's like, yeah, if you don't do what you said you were going to do, you lose respect for yourself, or you lose trust in yourself, which ultimately is self-confidence, because it's just trust. If like there's certain people I'm sure in your life where if you need something done, you can ask them and you can sleep tight at night knowing that's going to get done.
Yep.
If you can't even do that with yourself, that's a little scary.
Totally.
Because now we're kind of floating. We're just floating in this space where it's like, I want to. And we all know those people / have been those people that have all the ideas and tell everyone. But then like you even kind of know in your head when you're telling them like, that's probably not going to happen.
Totally. Yeah.
It's just kind of fun to shoot the shit. And
And I think that's how you build a real team, a real family, a real business, a real culture, is getting the people around you that ultimately like would bury a body for you type shit. Like, like, you know, the town where Ben Affleck's like, you know, we got to do something. We can never talk about it again, and we're going to hurt some people. And the guy's like, whose car we taking? You know, and he's just, that's the only question. Whose car we taking? You know, that's like, I have some people in my life, you know, Nikki, my buddy Luke, you know, Adam, Strong Coffee. Like there's people that are just down to ride, that it's like, that's who you build with. And then that attracts other people that see what you're building, and there's just already a standard set, right?
Yeah, and that energy is contagious too, right?
Totally.
Like I am kind of excited about moving to Austin and just getting to recreate my entire universe.
Hell yeah, man.
Because it's like,
you can be whoever you want to be right now.
Yeah.
Whoever you choose to be, you are.
And kind of like you said earlier, if you want to be a podcast, you got to act like a podcaster.
Yeah.
That was part of, let's just book this studio. Like it's going to help get bigger guests. It's going to help with consistency with, I mean, I just show up and talk. Like that's a big part of it.
Totally.
I feel way better doing this than a Zoom call.
Yeah.
So yeah, like all these things, I'm just kind of like recreating my world. I used to be a massive homebody. And I'm trying to get out of that a little bit. I don't mind being a homebody necessarily, but I don't know that it opens up like the most opportunities for me to meet people, to find a partner, to do all of that. So I think that Austin will be really good for that. Just, I'm hitting my 1 week pretty much today, which is crazy,
that's amazing,
dude.
Bro.
2 podcasts.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
dude.
man.
That's awesome. Seriously, bro, it's not easy to pick up and move. Like, majority of people will never do that, you know? And I think that's a huge win, an accomplishment that you should definitely be proud of. And obviously, 2 podcasts, you're doing the little things to the compound effect, man.
Yeah.
Right? And you're in the right, dude, your exposure luck. And I think, like you said, people are like homebody, but their idea to finding a partner or certain things is going out to the bars and drinking every night, where it's like, it also matters where the intention of where you're going is. Right. Showing up to certain events. Like you were there at the one, you know, the people that are trying to do the things are at certain events, are at certain places.
Health and wellness.
Yeah. Like that's, whatever it is for you. You know what I mean? And it's, if like you go out and drink, like that's your thing. But, it's just being intentional of where you're at and spending your time to try to find those people, you know? There's just somebody the other day that was like, I can't find anybody. It's like, well, you're going to certain places at night that person's probably not going to be at, you know? Like, so
do you drink or do you go out at all?
Very, very rarely. I've, I had a lot of fun in college. I think I got that all out of my system. I had like a really bad hangover, like 3.5-4 years ago, maybe, that just literally made me quit drinking.
Really?
And like, I think we drank for the first time in like months. I mean, even almost maybe a year, like last week, 2 weeks ago. And even after, I was like, dude, I felt it in my body for a week. I was like, I just can't. I will do what I need to. We had an investor meeting, and he was like, oh, thank God you guys drink. And I was like, well, buckle up.
Guess I drink.
And it helped raise money. So, you know, there are instances where my uncle said at one time, like, you got to be a chameleon. And I don't necessarily think I want to be a chameleon, but I also understand I don't want to be the sharp edge in a round room. Is something that Adam told me. And I understand that. right? Like to an extent, there is also boundaries, right? There's levels of this shit. There's soon going to be a point where I control the room itself.
Yeah.
Where like I will never be the corner because I've controlled my universe, my world, right? But there are certain instances still where I don't necessarily, I want to make other people feel comfortable for whatever the case is, but there's also certain boundaries I set. Like I'm not going to go get shit faced, but if having like I had one drink the whole time, you know,
Okay.
but that's an interesting take, I think, when it comes to business or growing or trying to do certain things.
Yeah.
I do think, I talk to Nikki about that all the time where I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I have these boundaries because I don't like to drink. I really don't. I think it's pointless.
Yeah.
I think it's literal poison, but I do understand the idea of celebration and connection.
Yeah.
But I prefer deeper connection as opposed to like surface level drinking stuff.
For me, like when I drink, well, so I'm sober.
Yeah.
Basically 3 years now.
Nice, congrats.
Like not the full time, thank you. Yeah. But like the majority of 3 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, like when I reflect on like you said like the deep chats, I feel like when I was drunk, I was having fake deep chats.
Totally.
Where it was like, I love you, man. Or like, you met this stranger and you guys are just bonding and then you never hang out again.
Ever.
And,
like when the alcohol's gone, what's left? It's just like, there's just nothing. Yeah. I don't know. I prefer plant-based medicines,
Yeah.
I like mushrooms. We kind of took a tea break from weed too. I think there's seasons and there's waves,
So how often do you do mushrooms?
There was seasons. Like there was one time where I was microdosing, which was like a gram, which isn't a real microdose, but I was taking them quite often. And mushrooms completely changed my life.
Really? So I've heard like a lot of that. I've never done them. I'm like a very anxious person, so I want to be in the right.
Yeah.
If I am going to do them, I want to be a very peaceful, calm person when I do that.
Yeah, totally. I think that matters. I think the environment totally matters. My first time doing it was with my cousin. We were on the beach, and my mom, my little brother were there too. And I'm very open in that sense. Like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. But it just it took a layer off for me. I was still obsessive. I was still training for the NFL. I was still kind of like in that mindset, and it just took a layer off of. I don't know. I feel like there's just layers from, I call it like the meta, the universe, the source, whatever the hell you think's up there. I feel like it just removes a layer for you to kind of be more connected and see things for what they really are, if that makes sense. Like I was actually seeing things without a lens on,
Give me an example. Like what's something like a specific thing that changed once you did mushrooms?
I feel like it's a lot of like internal things, like understanding that I'm connected to everything. Like I was seeing, and like the idea of seeing, like I wasn't tripping in the sense of seeing things that weren't there. I was seeing the trees for what it really was. It was a breathing, living thing. And like
I've heard multiple
seeing
people
the
say
vibration of it come off and going like, whoa, like that thing is alive. And I'm alive with this, watching the ocean waves just and come back in, and it's like pulling me in. And I'm like, I'm connected to everything. And then just certain deeper meanings of like life things, of just kind of going internal and watching what comes up internally and working through certain things. Like I had the ego death with football. Like after a couple mushroom trips, my mentor, Matt Coman, he asked me a question that has stuck with me forever. He's like, are you your fully expressed self? You being fully expressed, like what does that look like? Like not holding anything back, like wearing what you want to wear, like doing what you want to do. Because during the football experience, I had long hair at the time, and I had a lot of piercings, and I cut my hair. I took my piercings out when I'd meet with scouts, and like I was just kind of trying to change my image to fit like this mold of like being more, I don't know, respectable, trying to fit this mold.
Like the reliable white slot receiver.
Totally. Legit. Yeah. Cause I was a little edgier, and I think it was a turnoff for some teams and stuff. And when he asked me that question after a couple mushroom trips, I was like, no, dude, I am not my fully expressed self. I am putting my happiness and future in the hands of this. I can't stand some scouts. Like, dude, you've never played a down of football in your life, and you're over here grading me. So that's a whole other thing. But I'm putting my life in this dude's hands, who's measuring me. Like, you can't measure my heart and what I do to a locker room and my vibration that everywhere I go, everything I touch turns to gold, and I turn winners. I make people winners. It doesn't matter. I might not even be the best dude in that room, but that room will be the best because I'm in there, you know? And like, you can't measure that. And I was just seeing all these things and the value, and it was just like, you're bigger than that, you know? And it was just kind of, I don't know, man. It just started, I became more in tune, and now I understand how to get back, and sometimes I fall completely off and I got to work to get back in tune with this. But there's times where I'm playing, I say I play in the metaverse, like I make things happen out of thin air from just listening to the intuition. It started to make me, it took the layers off for me to really listen to my intuition. And they say like intuition is God talking back, and I totally believe that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it.
It is interesting, dude. It's real shit. And it happened, I mean, football, I said, was very like my first time getting spiritual. Like, in college, I was starting to get attracted to the Bible, and I was feeling like something was pulling me faith-wise. Like, I never really had faith. It was grit and hard fucking work, dude. That's all I knew.
White knuckling it.
Dude, pounding the pavement. Like, first one there, last to leave, you know? That was my mentality. And then I just felt something like greater. Like, my junior, senior year, I started to dive into the Bible a little bit. But my sophomore year was the first time like I ever did visualization, and like what I visualized like literally happened, like straight up happened. Like something took my body over and it happened, and I was like, whoa. And so that kind of got me into spirituality a little bit. And then, you know, I just started going into like Taoism and Buddhism, and just kind of like trying to discover, just being open, like you said, how you're open to going out. Like I was just open to, okay, what is everybody talking about? And
it feels like being open is just like, I like to simplify things because that's just like easier for me to soak in and execute on. And being open just seems like such a good way to navigate life, whatever it is. Because anytime that doubt creeps in, you can just say to yourself, I'm going to be open. And it's almost like you just have this like wave of freeness come over you or something.
Yeah, I think yes and no. I think there's seasons, again, because like there's some seasons where I was a yes man. And then like lately it's like, hey, if it's not my family, strong coffee, or bringing this value specifically, then it's a no.
That's true. It's about your like how your values are aligning in that season. And yeah, if you're like wanting to expand, then you probably need to be open.
Totally.
If you're wanting to grind, then you probably need to be almost shut down.
Yeah, and grow a specific thing, because that's like the attention, what you put into, right? Like energy flows where attention goes, and you know, all these things of whatever I'm focusing on, what I appreciate appreciates. So if I'm like too open.
Damn, dude, you're just dropping fucking like, like rhyming shit over here.
It's just, man, I spend a lot of time talking to myself and in my head and just and working through it, like in the sense of, and read a lot of books. I'm around a lot of smart people. I have a lot of, you know, I'm with one of the smartest people I know every single day.
Yeah.
You know, my life partner. So she obviously she's a wealth of knowledge for me. But just I think, man, just because I was a yes man for a very long time, which ended me where I am with Strong Coffee, you know, and being out in Austin, it was kind of the same thing. It was just the unknown. And I've always said, like, I've burned the boat several times, and every time I've burned the boats, I've come back with a bigger ship, because it's like,
sometimes you have to.
You have to.
Like, that's, for me, that was telling all of my social media that I was going sober. Once you do that, dude, imagine I tell you I'm sober right now, and then after this podcast, I'm like, you want to go grab a drink?
Yeah, I'm like,
it's just so awkward, like,
well, then I can't trust you. You're not doing what you said you're gonna do.
You can't trust me. I can't trust me. You're gonna feel, you're not even gonna enjoy the beer, because you're gonna be like, is this dude about to like fall off the fucking, you know, like what's going on here?
For sure.
So I'm with you. Like, sometimes we know we need to burn the ship, and that's why we quit jobs that we know, like, we may not have anything lined up, but it's like, I have to figure this out. And that's where it goes back to, if you trust yourself, you can do it.
When you said not even having anything lined up, I think that's almost the purpose of it, is you can't even have anything lined up because there's not enough space. You have to create space for something to even be brought into your life. And I think that's where burning the ships really comes in. And that's just, like you said, it's a muscle, man. The unknown and jumping into it. And, you know, it's a muscle that you flex daily, right? Like you don't just go, all right, I'm fucking quitting everything. There's reps, and I have evidence in my life of every time I've done it, it's been, you know, greater for me.
Yeah, if you can look back, and why would you be scared if you're like, I have a track record of this, I've done this all the time.
Betting on yourself, dude, doubling down on yourself is, I think, just the best thing you can do. And it's, man,
if you trust yourself.
But also everybody's in different positions. I'm also not, married with 2 kids and like have a secure job that if I quit, like how the fuck are my kids going to eat? Like, so I understand there's certain positions that you do have to line shit up.
You do.
But there is a position where you jump. There's a time where it's not always going to be perfect. It's just.
And you have to put yourself in that position. If you know, okay, I have 2 kids and a wife, but I'm unhappy, doesn't mean for the next 18 years you do that. Like, you got to have the plan to put yourself in that position. Like, that's, I love that idea of extreme ownership that Jocko talks about, because you can either fault, whenever anything happens, you can either fault to the side of, I can change this, or you can fault to the side of, this happened to me, damn it. And one of those is helpful. One of those is just kind of a pity party. So I always try. My instinct might be to go to the direction of, this happened to me. The victim. But like, I've trained my brain enough, and it's a sports thing, right? You play sports, it's your fault no matter what. Like, you got to take on. You're not gonna play if you're like, well, he didn't do. You're not getting back on the court. You're not getting back on the field. So
the victim mentality is tough.
It's tough.
Because it creeps in, man. Like, I still struggle with it. There's times I still, it doesn't matter what it's. I think there's certain spaces in life that it's easier to not be the victim, and then sometimes, But at the end of the day, you're in control of it all, man. Like, and especially, I just think as a man in general, like you are fucking responsible. Yeah, it starts and ends with me. I might not even be the problem, but I'm the fucking solution, and I got to figure out how to get it done.
I agree. It's such like a turnoff to just meet someone that
just is a victim all the time.
It's just it's gross.
We were talking about that. Like, I just don't feel bad for people. Like, I don't have a lot of empathy for people that just don't take control of their situation. Like, damn, that sucks, bro, that happened. But it's up to you to figure it the fuck out and move on, because you have to. Because we could all sit here. Everybody has some type of trauma or something in their childhood or something bad that's happened, and some worse than others. And some people but other people are dealt a worse hand and get into greater positions. Like, it's just. It is what cloth are you cut from, and what are you going to make of your situation,
Yeah, and I think you said it right there. It's what cloth are you cut from, because I don't think anybody necessarily wants to be the victim.
Yeah, true.
It's, sometimes we have access to, but then again, it's like, are you putting yourself in the position to gain access to the podcast? I always battle with this. Yeah. I really do always battle with this, because I'm an empathetic person at my core, and I naturally do feel bad for people, and I want to be like, well, they're that way because they don't have access to this or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, like, you can get it. So, but then on the flip side, there's legit neighborhoods in the United States. I came from a job where I worked with like data and mapping and visualization. There's neighborhoods miles wide in the US where they really don't have access to internet or computer, or 75% of the homes don't have internet access or cell phone.
Wild.
So for me and you could say, well, they should just hop on the bus and go to the library.
Yeah.
But it's like, but do they have the knowledge to know to hop on the bus and go to the library? And like, this isn't a race thing. This is a poor and rich, medium class thing. Like, white, black, it doesn't matter. Like, so I don't know. I just always bounce like back and forth on that.
No, totally. I do think that's so valid. I think that you only know what you know. Your parents only know what they knew from what's passed down. And I think, man. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you have, it's hard for me. Like, there's people that play roles that are content with their situation. But if you're somebody that feels like there's something greater and that you're meant to do something, then I think it is up to you to find a way to fulfill that, and break the generational curses. Like, I just like that. I only knew what I knew. I mean, I think my parents did a good job of doing the best they could to put me in a position and give me the mindset and whatever tools that they possibly could. But I mean, it was me and my dad looking up YouTube every night. It was me reaching out to 150 schools. I emailed 150 schools 5 times and got 1 reply, And it's like, So it's just hard for me. Well, I'm not getting any offers. Well, have you done anything?
Yeah. Have you emailed 151?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Like,
You know what's
of
funny?
that is it.
Me leaving the house to go play a baseball game my senior year, I'm leaving and my dad goes, "Hey man, we didn't email Washington State yet. We didn't email Eric Mealy, the special teams coordinator." I was like, I even told my dad, "Fuck it, I'm over it, man." They didn't reply. I get a call on the way home because my dad sent an email from Eric Mealy, and Eric Mealy, we're boys to this day, but he was like, "You want to know how I found your email? I went like this on the screen and clicked on your email." And he's like, "And I loved your film." And so it's like, yeah, man, it's just, you have to put in the work. And it's, I think it is up to you to find a way to get access to, but again, yeah, some people are in situations where they can't, but if you are in a situation that you can, then it's up to you, and you're making the conscious decision to not, if you're aware of it.
And then it's almost double as bad because you think we have the opportunity to go and get it.
Yeah.
And make it, that might not even be a US thing, but different countries, we actually have an opportunity to go and get it. And we can do so much cool shit, whether that be sharing our voices, whether that be creating a product. Like,
dude, yeah.
It's like, we have cool opportunities. And the way I kind of look at it is like, what else are you going to do? Like, if we weren't doing this, if you guys weren't like slinging coffee at the farm, like, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Netflix?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can either consume or you can give to the world.
Yeah, produce.
And
totally.
Yeah, it's kind of like an interesting way to look at it. My dad, like, you guys just met him, he's a doer.
Yeah.
Like, he does not stop. I live in an apartment that's 2 years old and he's like replacing shit. Like,
that's awesome.
He just
man.
loves working,
That's great.
He's a grinder. But yeah, man, like, we have such an opportunity to just like do and create and give, and you got to do something. So it's like, why not lean into your gifts? So on that note, I know we're like pretty deep into the pod for this, but tell us like how you got connected with Strong Coffee.
Yeah.
You're a co-founder, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So give us the elevator pitch story there.
Yeah. So, after college football, I was training in California. A buddy of mine, his family owned a gym out here, and we were just training, and I just kept saying, like, man, I'm just ready to get out of California. And it's just, I'm in my hometown, and it's great. Lake Forest, California is an incredible place. It'll always hold a place in my heart, but just, it's very limiting in the sense of, when you're around the same things all the time, that's what you think is. You don't know anything else, and if you don't leave that and go see the rest of the world,
I was gonna say, it could be LA, it could be Austin. If you grow up there,
totally,
you don't need to, but like it can be beneficial.
Yeah, totally. I was ready for expansion. I knew I wanted to get out of there, and he goes, "Dude, my family owns a gym in Austin," and I was like, "Bet." So packed up everything, moved to Austin to take over this gym. It fell through like 3 months in. Just me and the owners just weren't seeing eye to eye. It was just it did not end well either. It was just very tough.
So this is the blessing.
Yeah, exactly. So while I'm at the gym though, I come across Strong Coffee. So I've been following Eben Britton for quite a while. Eben Britton's an ex-NFL lineman turned yogi who all about identity after the NFL, and I was currently going through that. Like, dude, what the fuck am I gonna do after football? Like, I was training kids, and I've always had a creative entrepreneurial spirit. Me and my buddy Luke have done a couple things. We pitched to Rob Dyrdek on his, like, I was getting reps at this stuff.
Yeah.
But also was just a naive kid that was getting by on passion and grit. You know what I mean? Like, no tangible real skills. And so during that time, I saw Eben post Adam Rothfelder, who's the CEO and founder of Strong Coffee, and he's like, "Oh, got a workout in with Adam." And that weekend, I hit up Eben. We were supposed to meet up, but didn't end up meeting up. But he posted Adam. Followed Adam, asked, "Hey man, can we meet up so I can get Strong Coffee in this gym I'm working at?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, come through the office." And I met Adam for like a total of 30 minutes. We got a little workout and we shot the shit, and that was it. Mm-hmm. I left, and then shortly, like I think 2 weeks later is when the gym fell through. I quit. It ended abruptly. And I'm sitting at my apartment. When I first got there, they gave me some furniture and stuff, and when it fell through, everything was ripped away.
Yeah.
I have negative a couple $100 in my bank account. I have zero furniture. I'm like crying in my room, like, dude, what the fuck?
How long ago was this?
2.5 years ago. And I'm like, I don't know anybody out here, and I just moved here. You know, I'm just like, what the fuck am I gonna do? And then I get a DM from Adam's wife, and she's like, hey, I'm throwing Adam a surprise birthday party. Would love to invite you. And I was like, okay, like what else am I gonna fucking do? You know?
Gotta do something.
So I show up to a surprise birthday party, and it's like me and 10 of his closest friends, and I've known him for 30 minutes total.
Yeah.
And so I'm at the party, and I'm talking to some guys, and they're like, oh, how do you know Adam? I was like, I met him for like 30 minutes a couple weeks ago, you know, like, but I'm here. Because Selly, his wife, thought we were better friends than we actually were.
Gotcha.
So Selly's the real MVP in this situation, man. She said she felt something, and so when she saw me and Adam talking. And I had an initial thought when I went into Strong Coffee. There was like 3 of them in there. I'm like, man, this is a small team. Because on the outside, even back then, I thought it was a bigger company than it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's a small team. That's interesting, you know? Okay, noted. And when I go to his birthday party, I knew who Adam was just from, you know, he's giving speeches about everybody there. And he's like, hey, man, I just met you, but you seem like, you know, you was a really cool dude. And he gave me some, didn't embarrass me, you know what I mean? And made me feel included. And I just feel like my job is to provide value, right? So I'm just making sure that as I'm there, I'm going to find a way to provide value. And we got violently high on the rooftop of this bar, like violently high. I was like, oh my God. I was sitting there like in my head, not knowing anybody, like, dude, I might pass out up here. Like going like, it was wild. And then just one moment I'm watching Adam talk, and I'm like, I should try to join Strong Coffee. Like, this guy's dope. He's just, his background, he was an ex-athlete. He's fucking creative. He's just doing shit. He's always doing shit, you know? I got to find a way to join Strong Coffee. So I stay a little bit after. I'm like helping clean up. I'm just doing that shit. And then I left. And I hit him up probably every week for about 6 months.
Really?
And got no reply. 0 reply, right? And at the time, looking back, I know what the period that he was going through, but 0 reply, nothing. And then this dude, Pat, who's still with us, he's our email marketing guy. He reached out to me a couple months later, was like, hey, would you want to do some content for us? And I ended up finding a job. In the meantime, I started working for Tim Kennedy. I don't know if you know who Tim Kennedy is.
Yeah.
He's
like an ex-SEAL or...
Yeah, he's an ex-special ops, I think.
Yeah.
And then Green Beret, I think.
Yeah.
An MMA fighter, and he opened up a school called Apogee Academy, and I found that job because he was on Joe Rogan, and he was like, yeah, I opened up a middle school, and I applied, and I got the job, so I started working at his middle school. I was teaching middle school kids. And Pat's like, hey, man, do you want to do some content for us? And I was like, sure, dude, I can do some content. Because I was doing some content creation and like some modeling and acting and stuff in LA, and I'm dabbling in the content creation space. I was like a little early in on the UGC stuff, you know, before it got super saturated. But
yep, it is.
So I started just doing content, and that was kind of how it started. And then it slowly kind of trickled into I was doing content, and then Selly like 3 weeks later goes, it's Thursday, and she goes, hey, do you want to go to New York tomorrow with Adam? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. I've never been. Yeah, I'll go to New York. He needs help at an event. And so I just showed up to the event, and I do what I did, and you know, and then there's just things where there's an opportunity, and it's like, how am I going to separate myself from everybody else that could possibly be here? And how can I show that I can provide value in different ways? So it was just showing up, and it was funny. There's a lot of little things, right? Where he goes, we had to fake a vaccine card to get in New York, right, at the time. And he goes, do you have Canva on your phone? And that was the first test. Yeah, I have Canva on my phone. Are you even I was like, are you even a creative if you don't have Canva on your phone? But there's like little things that I was just prepared that I was doing prior to, like I had a little bit of knowledge because my boy Luke showed me Canva, you know, and I got really obsessed with Canva.
So you had these little edges.
Totally, these little things. And then, dude, we bonded in New York. We did a ton of mushrooms. We walked around New York for fucking 2 days and like kind of just hit it off. And we just found out we were cut from the same cloth. And I just started taking it upon myself to kind of start doing like assistant type work for him. Yeah. And then I was at the school, and I was kind of his assistant doing some stuff like that. And then it reached a point where he was like, hey man, like you should quit the school and come be full time. And then that just turned into traveling the country with him, serving coffee, and then working my way up to pretty much, you know, partner. And me and him doing this thing and reaching a point that it's never been in the history of Strong Coffee, and it's in a very healthy shape. So, I mean, it was just, and I think a very defining moment for me was we were at an event in Miami, a big team event, and everybody's dragging ass, but I'm the first one up with Adam, you know, and it's just like,
Those little pockets of the day.
It is, man. It's like I've always been that way. Like I have to find a way to separate myself. Like I don't want to be in the majority. Like even in football, it was like I may not have been the best dude on the field, but you can't. Like I am different in some way.
You're gonna run the right route every time.
Yeah, exactly. I have to be the smartest guy, or I have to be the first one in conditioning. I have to be the last one standing.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the mentality that we had. And he has one speed, man, and that's kind of how we work. It's like, you're never too good to serve coffee. I don't know very many companies where the CEO is actively always out there serving coffee.
Yeah.
And so, and we just, now we're fucking here. And it's like, it's been 2.5 years now of growing this thing. And it's like the biggest blessing. I mean, I've got to, from like removing myself from it, I've got to learn business from top to bottom without majority of the risk.
Yeah.
Like this is his baby in the sense of this is how he feeds his kids. Like,
that's what's cool about startup world.
Totally. And just wearing a bunch of different hats, man, doing everything from fucking everything.
Yeah.
And making shit up on the spot and, almost losing the business because Whole Foods almost put us out of business to being with him and flipping it. And it's just been wild. It's been a crazy ride.
I love that, man. And one of the things I love about that whole story is you didn't even say the word coffee till the very end, which I think kind of proves the mission can be anything. Like earlier in the convo, you said like you got to shoot for what you want and kind of work that way. I don't know if I go back and forth on that because sometimes I'm like, I think I need to know right now, right here, what do I align with?
Yeah.
And then that can be whatever. So like for this example, maybe you were just like, hey, I just want to be around good people that are good energy with good vibes. And like you found that in Strong Coffee, and now coffee can be your passion.
I reverse engineer because it's like, I was like, okay. So I took it to heart. We were on Rob Dyrdek, me and my buddy Luke, and we pitched to him. We had this idea. And it was funny. I want a foot in the door. And I asked the universe, well, you got a foot in the door, buddy, and that's all you got, And we made up a drink on the spot to pitch to him, and he loved it. Bring us on the show. Let's pitch this drink. I totally butchered the pitch, fucking ruined it. But great learning lesson. And he said, like, you guys are cut from the cloth, your passion, like everything you guys are doing. He's like, you need to go learn business. Like specifically what I was talking, I just felt like he was telling me like, you need to go learn some shit and come back in a couple years. And like, I'm excited to see where you guys end up. And when I saw Adam, I just saw an opportunity. It was like, what do you want to be doing? And find somebody in that realm or arena and knock on the fucking door and do anything you possibly can to get onto the team and work. Like I didn't care. Like I still don't really care about money. I want enough to provide and start to grow a family, like in that sense, and create some freedom and start to do things with it. But at the end of the day, like it wasn't about that. It was like the money was the opportunities and the education. I mean, I have a degree, but I've learned more in these 2.5 years with Strong Coffee than I ever did in college and ever will. Yeah. I could have whatever the fuck you want, but like the real world shit is where you learn. And so I just reverse engineered it because like I want to be here. And I also understood that I'm 25, 24 years old, right? Like I have a lot of time. I was like, well, okay, if I learn from this guy from the next 10 years, I'll be 35 years old with all this experience. That's what I told myself.
That's young.
So I committed to that and don't waver. And and honestly, there was a lot of times where I probably could have, and maybe where he thought I could have. But I just kept showing, and same thing with like my life partner. It's like, it's unwavering. And you keep showing each other like, nah, dude, I'm with you. Like I'll go down with the ship, but I'm telling you like, well, let's ride this wave together, So I think it is important, and it's a real relationship. Like me and Adam have a relationship in the sense of it takes time and it's like brotherly, So cultivating the relationships, it's reverse engineering. Like you said, I mean, there was a point of where I wanted to be, but what's the vehicle to get there, and who am I going to surround myself with to get there?
Yeah, man. And they're all important. They're all important. And going back to that Dyrdek thing, I like to look at those situations as, well, what would be the good side of this? So Rob turns you down in that moment, devastating. But let's think here. Rob is the businessman of them all. So he's probably getting 50% of whatever that business is.
Oh, yeah.
So the positive of that is like cool life experience. You got some business advice from Rob. You're going to go do this and learn your own thing. And then now you get a much bigger profit. Like everything shakes its way out, you know,
Totally.
like
Yeah.
that's the sexy hot buzz that you would get from Rob Dyrdek being like, let's sign a contract.
Totally.
But the sexy stuff normally is not
It's
like,
not the real shit.
it's not the real shit, man. It's not the real shit. I did want to bring one thing up and then I'll let you go, or I got two things. And Nikki, I swear this isn't because you're in the room. I have this on my agenda. You can check. But like, I don't know you guys really. We met last week, whatever. But I really like your relationship.
Thank you.
And I'm just curious. I asked it last week. What do you look for in a partnership? Like, what qualities, what feelings do you look for? Curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a very unique relationship. I mean, the first time I saw her in college, I already knew, and I think that's what scared her away originally.
Not playing hard to get.
Yeah, no. I think I was trying to play hard to get, but I wasn't, but I knew right away when I saw her, and I was like, man, she's just different. And then we were just in different parts of our life. We, spent some time apart and recouped and came back together, resparked. I think almost like 2 years now. Yeah, about 2 years ago. And I think the thing that you look for is like somebody that's gonna unconditionally love you at the end of the day, but just knows the person that you can be and that you want to be. Like, she holds me to a standard that I set for myself, that when I am feeling victimized and I'm not doing the things that I said I was gonna do, like, she holds me accountable, but out of love. She constantly makes me want to be a better person. And she's bet on me, she at the time she's turned down things that would have benefited her much better as an individual, to come move across the country from Hawaii to come live in Austin, Texas with a guy at the time that wasn't making any money at the end of the month. Right. And it's like, but she saw the potential in me, and she saw, what I'm gonna be. And I'm a firm believer in every king needs a queen. And at the end of the day, it's like her unconditional love that motivates me. So like, looking into a partner, I mean, also I think that she's gonna be, and is already, a phenomenal dog mom, but gonna be a phenomenal mother in general, right? And just, she's driven and she's passionate and she's so intentional. A big thing, we were in Joshua Tree early in our relationship, and I've always hated laundry, and she's folding laundry, and she was giving me this whole spiel about like how intentional she was with just folding laundry. And that's like, to me, how she does everything is how she does everything. Like, she's truly the epitome of intention and being present, and just such an incredible human being that makes me just want to be better daily. Like, there's this funny reel I sent her yesterday of like this. It's like when your wife just makes you want to be a better man, and he's like gonna throw his clothes on the ground, but she's walking by, so he picks them up. And it's like, but that's real. And it's not to make her happy. It's because that's what I should do, in a sense.
Or it could even be like to make her happy because you want to make her happy.
Totally.
It's not like I'm making her happy.
Oh, I got to make her happy.
Yeah.
No, it makes me happy,
right,
to make her happy. So yeah, man, I think, and just we're cut from the same cloth, man, and we think the same way, and our morals and values align. And the attraction is inevitable, right? I think she's physically a beautiful, from head to toe, inside out. She's absolutely gorgeous. But I think the most important part is like the soul connection that we have, and that it's not surface level. We've gone deep and we've uncovered. She told me that she wanted to love the darkest parts of me, and that was something that, I've always felt like I couldn't be my full self. I've always felt like I was a lot, or that would scare people or whatever the case. So I've always felt like I've held a little bit back. So being completely vulnerable and her loving me through all phases and all characters, so I think it's just important to unwavering faith, unwavering confidence in each other. But I think, the challenging, like, she challenges me daily in a lot of different ways, but in the best ways, teaching me patience, teaching me just, again, the standard that I've set for myself, that if it wasn't for her, I would be falling short of the man that I could be every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, she just makes me want to be better every single day.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah. I appreciate you asking that.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay, so the reason we connected was over the artist Mike.
Yeah.
Love his music.
Yeah.
Talk about the collab that happened. Like, how did that come to fruition?
Yeah, dude. So I mean, I've been a Mike fan since high school. Essentially, I don't remember how I came across him, but the Fresh Leet days, you know, and he was repping Fresh Leets, and he was freestyling, and I was watching Touring's Boring, and I was just a big supporter.
Touring's Boring was like
was lit. Yeah, it was wild. But I really connected, even at that time. Like I was that dude. Like I felt like I essentially was like the same person as Mike. So I related to being that athlete and being the dude and just being like the life of the party and like, you know, I fucking drank like that and I partied like that. And I loved his music at the time. And I love the white dude that could rap, you know, just in reality. And then he started to grow and evolve. You know, I started to get into the spiritual stuff in college. He came out on a podcast and talked about the 7 spiritual laws of success. So I bought the book and I read it, and it changed a lot of shit for me. And then I started reading the 4 Agreements and the Untethered Soul, and it started me down my spiritual journey as he was going through his, which I think a lot of his fans relate to the evolution, right? And then his music was starting to change, and then he came out with the podcast, and you're getting a deeper dive into him, and he's just being vulnerable about his evolution. So that was the attraction to Mike, and then I just felt like I grew with him, you know, as a person, and I always was like, if I ever met that dude, we'd be homies, you know, because I'm a fan in a sense, but I'm more of just a witness and supporter. And like I said, the biggest fan of him I am as the businessman that he is, the way that he's learned to monetize and build a genuine, authentic business and brand.
While not being a big name.
While not being, I mean,
like he's
big.
Yeah.
He has this niche. I mean, it's like 1,000 true fans as like the book, like I forgot what the book is, but you can build a brand from 1,000 true fans, right?
Yeah.
And he's done that, but with his family and his crew and put all the homies on. You know what I mean? Like that's who I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be the guy that put all the homies on and that fucking flew everybody out and did all that stuff like for the homies. I just really believe in his brand. And so me and Adam would spend a lot of time in the car on road trips, and the number one artist listened on the road trips was Mike. And so I think I kind of introduced Adam to Mike's music, and then Eben Britton is a good friend of Adam's, who's a good friend of Mike. So there's just kind of like that world. He's like, oh, he knows Eben. And so Eben was making some intros and all that kind of stuff. And we were doing these things like toying around, like we pitched to Justin Bieber, which was something that I pulled out of thin air. We met Justin Bieber at this event that I manifested. I swear to God.
Fuck it. Why
wild.
not? Like,
well, we did.
Why go for a small artist when we can just go for Justin Bieber?
And we pitched to him before we even thought about the mic stuff, just because we met him. We were like, dude, we should just. And we got Justin Bieber's address and like the code word to put on it and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, it got to him. But the whole mic thing was always something that we wanted to do, but we just knew how intricate and intentional he was.
Yep. It's got to be the right time.
And then he ended up loving the coffee. And so we just started talking, and Adam put together a badass package, like kind of pitched to him about like, hey man, what's your favorite like cereal that's nostalgic? Because we were toying with like this cereal milk idea, and he was like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, bro. And so Adam got to toying with the package design with the help of some other people, and it kind of just started to come together. And it's funny because there's no real, like, how did this happen? Like, I don't know. It just did. And Adam is a literal genius when it comes to product development, packaging, design, branding. Like he's truly one of the best people I've ever seen when it comes to like CPG product development, branding, and just like this, he's got like this touch to it, you know? And he can connect with people through that. And Mike loved it. And so, yeah, man, it's a collab. We're just waiting. I know Mike's touring right now, so he's like rehearsing, but at any day now, it's in his balls in his court for when he kind of launches it. So
that's cool.
By the time people hear this, probably it's already launched and probably already gone.
Yeah.
I don't imagine people are going to get their hands on it. Unless you're really tuned in to Mike and you're going to be like waiting for him to drop it. But
I'm a quick trigger, man. This is releasing at midnight. So.
Oh, shit. Well, hopefully it's released by then. I apprite that.
We roll, bro.
I love that.
We roll here.
But yeah, I came out of thin air, man. And Stevenson Ranch was a brand that I've loved that since he started it, and just the idea. And again, it's cool, but a lot of people, if you know Stevenson Ranch, you don't even know that it's Mike's. Like, I think he's just done such a good job with his
like separating brands.
Yeah, and just business.
I'm with you, man. Like I love his music, but I'm more so just like really And this could be for anyone. I just enjoy watching anyone grow. It could
Totally.
be someone that is famous. It could be someone that's not famous. Like
Yeah.
if you're pushing yourself and progressing and growing and sharing struggles, sharing wins. I just have a lot of respect for that.
Dude, same.
So it could be anyone, but
I love that documentary. Like I literally cry. I've cried happy tears on that one and Mac Miller's documentary. I'm a big Mac Miller fan.
bro, it's crazy you say that because I have open to everything, attached to nothing tattooed on this arm, and then I have a Mac Miller tattoo on. Oh shit, dude! We'll have to get photos of our Mac tats.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well,
is that kids?
Yeah,
dude, I have a kid's tattoo.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah,
yeah. It was because, but again, it's inspirational because a guy like Mike, what he's built, like and just truly self-made. You know, Mac Miller, same thing, and it's like you said, watching people grow and watching the evolution of both of their music.
Yep.
From like
and
these
I love
like rappers.
evolution.
Exactly, bro. That gives me goosebumps because it's like in the Mac documentary and in Mike's, you watch their music. I wouldn't even say get better because I still bump Mike Stud.
Yeah.
I still bump that old shit. I'll still bump, you know, girls these days, you know, like I'll still bump all the old shit, but there's just vibes and certain, you're growing with them and neither of them were attached to the old version of themselves.
Yep.
Or attracted to holding on to something that wasn't meant for them anymore, you know? And it was very attractive to me to follow. And it's like kids, man, I remember I've DJ'd for a long time. And I remember being on LimeWire and watching kids drop. And I was like, what's that? And I downloaded it and then I looked him up. And oh, it's this white kid?
Yep.
You know, so very inspirational. Like I've always been into music and, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's dope to watch people grow, like you said, and just seeing the evolution of Mike and transpire into such an intentional product. I think it's just very aligned on for him, for us, for the things that we're into. And I'm excited to hopefully, you know, meet him in Irving when he comes out he's coming out to Irving, Texas. We have the CrossFit Games the same time that he's got his concert. So we're gonna crush at the CrossFit Games and hustle over to the concert.
When is that?
August 10th, I want to say, is that Saturday?
Oh, so it's a Saturday.
I think it's Saturday.
I might try and get up there.
Yeah,
for
dude,
that,
you definitely should.
that.
If you can come to the CrossFit Games too and come hang out, man. We'll be serving up coffee and hopefully seeing the Steves, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, like I want to replicate that in my own way. You know, there's very few people. I wouldn't say very few people I respect, but very few people. I'm careful about who I look up to.
Same. And, so even when you said like I'm not a fan, I get that because it's like I never necessarily want to be a fan of somebody.
I don't even need pictures with you. I don't want like I genuinely want to sit in a room and have conversation about how the fuck like you know how'd you get here and like you know not even pick the brain but just be in that aura
like I want
to growth.
Yeah, like when I listen to your podcast, I feel like I want to add into that.
Totally.
So now we have that opportunity. Yeah, I think like looking up to someone, and you know they always say like never meet your idols.
Yeah.
You know, I've definitely kind of encountered that a couple times.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It's a interesting.
Well, because you like lift the veil, you know. It's like you see what's really back there. You
know? Like I can edit this podcast and make myself look like the most flawless person ever, but
totally
you can't hide certain things in real life. And you know, so much of social media is, again, back to social media, is just putting the good out there. So it's like, oh, they have no bad in their life. And then you meet them and they might. But yeah, man, like I'm the same way. I try not to be too much of a fan, but there's definitely people that I respect and I support and I want to see do well. And I enjoy their craft. So
totally, man. I think crafting and just, man, it's truly beautiful. People building their own kingdom. Me and Nikki talk about this daily, man. We want to build a kingdom, you know, and whatever that is in our eyes. And we have a pretty specific picture of it and just putting the homies on. Like, that's why I love For the Homies. That's why I love how he's brought his homies up and his homies have found ways to get in where they fit in. The Kilmer's holding the camera, you know, like, and there's even then he even had to cut, but then
vibe guy.
Exactly, a vibe guy. But then he even had to cut some dudes off for the shit that they were doing because they got too caught up in the shit. And it's like, you know,
and he gave us that access to see it, which I thought was really cool.
And you know what? He's truly a quarterback in the sense of, hey man, when it's going good, he gives everybody else credit, and when it's bad, he fucking owns it. Yeah, and it's like that's who I want to be around, are the guys that are owning it. And it truly is that quarterback mentality. When you win, hey man, the line did their job. The receivers ran great routes. Defense fucking kept us in it, man. I'm just here. You know, when we lose, hey man, that's on me. That's my fault. I could have done better. You know, and so I feel like those are the type of guys that we're trying to collab with. And Mike, I mean, I'm excited because I don't even think he knows how well this is gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, like I think he thinks it's cool and like a cool opportunity, but I think there's just such a big. I mean, this is an easy bag. For him as far as dropping the Cinnamon Toast Crunch goes, and then I think the longevity of this, it's just funny. I've always known. So like a lot of my homies that are watching this happen are like, bro, I can't believe that like you guys are actually collabing with him. Like you've talked about this shit since high school. And then when we met Justin Bieber, same shit. Like, bro, you've been talking about that shit since high school. And it was like, yeah, because that's the attraction, right? It's doing all the little things that got to this point to attract that, and even being the vibration for Mike to even feel that. You know what I mean? Like
you got to believe it's possible.
Yeah, if we were out doing the wrong shit and doing fucking whatever the fuck, you know, not doing the right shit or not being aligned, he wouldn't have wanted to be a part of it.
It's like, why wouldn't you want? Like when you are producing like a good quality, healthy, feel good product, like
intentional
or vibes, you know, like with a podcast, it's like if you feel like you're giving, like I want to give to my guests as much and my listeners as much as like they give to me. So if I feel that I can benefit my guest life, like I'm not gonna feel bad asking anybody, Joe Rogan, you know, like
totally, dude.
Anybody, like you can ask if you truly feel that you are giving your gift, then
providing value.
Yeah,
like I just like coming into everything with providing value, as much value that I can provide, and finding ways that can be reciprocated. You know, that's something that she's really taught me, is just like reciprocal relationships, right? Like I don't ever come empty-handed. I don't like coming to parties empty-handed. I don't like coming to anything empty-handed. That's why I love the coffee, to be honest with you. Like we have a policy, like we're the caffeine cowboys, right? We're caffeine dealers. Like first hit's free, man.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you the first hit for free. Here's a bag because you're gonna come back.
It's like Zen.
Oh, dude, it's got a 68% rebuy rate. Like more than half the people that come, they come back.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's just interesting, but it's not, I'm not only giving you coffee, it's like real value. And it's the metaphor too, right? Just not coming empty handed. And the product is essentially that. Like Adam created that to provide value because he was touching lives of a couple celebrities that he was training, but wanted to touch the lives of thousands, of millions. And Strong Coffee, dude, it's funny, man. We had a call with a VC the other day, and he was just like, what's your differentiator? And we were telling him about the ingredients, and I lost it. I'm like, we're the differentiators. Like, we are the differentiators. Like, nobody, like Strong Coffee, it's a slow burn right now, but it's going to the fucking moon. And there's limited seats.
Yeah.
And for me and my buddy Luke have always talked about this, man. Like, we're going, the train is moving. You can hop on or not, because it is going with or without you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm going there. If you're starting to pull it, it's getting fucking cut. And it's not personal, it's vibrational. That's something that she always says. It's not personal, it's vibrational. If it's no longer in alignment, it's getting cut off. And I'm sorry. And it's like we're only surrounding with the people that want to go here, man. You know, you can get off at any time that you want to, but like we have somewhere we're going, and that's the fuel for it. Like that's what fuels the lifestyle. That's what fuels the energy, the passion. Like it's all in that coffee, man. And that is a very intentional. I mean, I drink that shit every single day. Like I will die by it. I can't do anything that I'm not in.
Yeah.
You know, I can't go into medical sales. Like some of my homies were like, why don't you, before I was, figuring out what I was going to do, why don't you go into medical sales? And no disrespect to anybody that does that.
Every former athlete.
Yeah, but if I don't believe in the product, I can't fucking sell it, dude. I'm not a salesman. I'm a real person.
Yeah.
You know, so if I don't believe in the product, I don't take it, I'm not going to shove it down somebody's throat. Like that's the real shit right there. And I just know how it's made. I know the energy behind it. I know our team, and like we're the differentiators.
Yeah.
And like we're going to make it fucking happen. Like regardless. I mean, dude, we've lived out of a tent and fucking, dude, we were in New Mexico in fucking 20-degree weather and crazy winds, like on our way to the Super Bowl to go serve coffee 2 years. It's just the shit that we've gone through to get to this point. It's like, but that's showing up, man.
That's the confidence right there.
Showing up.
That's literally the confidence. Well, I can tell how passionate you are when you talk about it.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into the bag, and who knows? We might have the best week of our lives, man.
Hey, tonight might be the best night of your life, bro. You don't even know. Might walk out of this building and You know?
Who knows?
Dude, you know.
May your dreams
destiny
not
unknown.
come true. May only things wilder than your dreams come true.
I think that's the thing, though, dude. Truly, you know. Were you closing it out right there?
No, I was just.
Oh, but it's just that is the thing. Like, there's this funny idea of people going, well, I want to go to the NFL. Okay, they get there, and then it's like there's nothing more than that because that was your dream. Like your dreams were smaller, right?
Yeah.
Than the actual reality of what can happen. And I just can't be around small. That's why we stopped sharing. Like you said, I just can't share it with everybody because it's small-minded people think I'm fucking crazy. Until I started moving to places until I came to Austin, and a lot of people out here have these visions and these dreams and these goals, and it's like that's what you have to be surrounded by, because
you almost need to be delusional yourself.
Have to be.
You need people around you that are delusional. You need to be delusional. You need to really, like, we both know it's possible, but maybe
it's happened. It's already happened, my friend. Like, that's the difference. It's happened. Like,
yeah,
I'm currently living it. The universe is catching up. Like, I'm already a multi-millionaire. We already have our kingdom. We already have the compound. I've already sold X amount of businesses for X amount of, like, it's happened. Like, I truly know I tell her all the time, and my thing is, like, I feel it in my nuts. And, like, I do. I truly do. Like, it's already happened. It's just patience, forgiving. There's the power of awareness. Shout out to my boy Brady, True North. He's it's this like men's group that I'm a part of that he offered this book to me, and it's changed my fucking life. But there's 2 points. There's the point where you become aware of the wish fulfilled, right? I want to be a millionaire. And then there's the point where it actually happens. And all this space in here is you living it as if it's already happened and letting the universe catch up. That's like the surrender part, right? And there's little tangible things that you got to do in between that. But the true thing is like focusing on the feeling and living as if it's already happened, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not even having the confidence that it will happen. It's like, I am it. And like, nobody can tell me otherwise. I did that. And like, the only reason I think I even played Division I football was because I told everybody to fuck off. Like, I told my high school coach was like, hey, bring me the list of your dream schools. And I had Oregon, U of A, you know, all these schools in there. And he's like, yeah, let's shoot for like D2, D3. And I was like, bye.
Yeah. You're part into
yeah,
it.
let me tell you, like, I didn't go to Oregon, but we beat them twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and that was just kind of the thing. And I had a coach even tell me, I was on the phone with him, I didn't commit to the D2 school. And he was like, I was like, hey, coach, I think I'm just going to wait to see what happens after baseball season. And he was like, what do you think? Oregon's gonna fucking call you tomorrow? That's what he told me. You're not that good of a football player. I was like, well, in all due respect, bro, you don't know me. Boop.
Yeah.
You know, and my buddy Luke was a big help in that. You do have to have people around you that are delusional. You know.
Yeah. And that's like my buddy that lives here. He's a content creator. And again, like, I don't even think we can be aware that we're delusional. I think we just might have to be it.
Yeah.
I don't know that you can be like, okay, I'm gonna be delusional. I think you just truly have to believe in your soul, like, this is my calling. Dude, I was podcasting when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
Before podcasting was a thing, I would record myself talking. I would have my friends in my basement, and we would do these talk radio shows.
That's awesome.
So it's like there's something deeper to that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I just like grew up and I saw someone famous and I was like, I want to be famous. I'll do this. Mm-hmm. That shit, like, I'm to the age, I'm 31 now. Like, I'm to the age where I realize fame is kind of the last thing you really want. Like, I'm pretty aware of that. I just want to be able to impact people. That's what I want. I want reach. But I've been doing this pretty much my whole life. And that's how I know, like, okay, this is the natural calling. Mm-hmm. And this is part 1 of it. Part 2 is I'm going to be going to the streets and like setting up a sign that says like 7-minute podcast.
That's awesome, dude.
And just see who sits down and like try and squeeze more than 7 minutes out of them. But that feels like digestible.
Dude, that's amazing.
And that'll be like the Instagram content that's more sexy than just like studio clips. So like, but I want to tell both sides of the story. I want to tell, you know, people that, like, if I'm going to have them in studio, they're probably going to have some sort of success.
Yeah.
Because that's probably how I found them.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I want to do that. But I also want to tell the stories of, you know, Jack the plumber.
Totally.
And like whatever he's going through or whatever, you know, I could ask him, what success is, and he's like, dude, I'm living the dream right now. Like, I have the best 2 kids, and like, I just want to hear every story that everybody has.
Yeah, man, all walks of life, bro. They all have a story, and I love that, man. And I think, like you said, you doing this since you were 15 years old is just strengthening that thought, that awareness of the dream fulfilled. Like, that is, you've been taking reps at this since you were 15 years old.
It's
like,
true.
That's real shit. And so it's just solidifying every day. And like, dude, the more it's just like, it's happened like to me several times of like, I have evidence of just thinking about it over and over and over again. And Rob Dyrdek talks about it all the time. He literally lives in the fucking house that he circled on a magazine when he was like 20 something years old, and didn't even realize it until he was living in it. And that's like real shit. Was like you have to be that fucking specific, and you will be rewarded if you are doing the right things, right? You have to be noble in your acts. You can't just be, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire and be fucking people over. Because you probably can get there that way, but it'll come crashing down.
Yeah.
That's not a foundation. That's sand.
Karma will come around.
Totally. Karma's real. We're about to be into that cycle of life coming up here, where that karma is going to start, you know, in the next couple months. I think, what is it like? Some retrograde.
Tell me more about what you're talking about.
It's like some retrograde, you know, it's Saturn and something, she probably knows, but like there's some retrograde coming up that I've been seeing that's like, and everything's seasonal, right? Like, that's part of this one group that I'm in, is we talk about like the seasons of what's actually happening. Like right now, summer is about making sure that you're sticking to like being uncomfortable, because summer can be very comforting, right? The sun's out and I don't want to, you know, it's like sticking to that, but also understanding that there's nothing that I can do by myself right now that's going to push the envelope forward. It's a lot of surrender in this season of like, keep doing the uncomfortable, hard things, but realize that there's nothing that I'm going to do to like progress it. It's like, it's got to unfold. Yeah. And then like winter's a season, right, where you're very internal. Like it's very like cold. Isolated. It's very, right. So there's seasons, and it's natural, nature's natural seasons. Like that's what happens. So, but right now it's just like they're saying that like your karma is going to start unfolding of what the work you've been putting in is going to come to light. You know, cream will rise. My high school coach used to always say that. My buddy Luke, if he's listening, he's going to fucking laugh his ass off. But it's like, the cream will rise. They say, cream will rise. But it's true. It does, you know? It comes to light. It only makes
sense.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Like, how could it not?
Yeah.
Whatever. We're here for a long time.
Yeah.
So whether it's karma, whether it's hard work, there's no way it can't stack. And
it's inevitable, dude. Whatever you want to do, if you just keep fucking going, like it's hard to beat the guy that doesn't stop. Like that's the inevitability of it. Like if you just keep going, eventually other people are gonna quit and you'll be the only. But I do believe in the idea of skill stacking and creating your own lane within a lane, right? Like you're taking from here and here and here and here, and you're making it your own, to then present it as your authentic, unique thing. Yeah. You know, using your nest.
You have to be unique.
Yeah.
That's all we can offer. And my buddy Tyler's told me that a few times, where even in dating, he's just like, man, you can't be anything but you. Like, there's going to be guys more attractive. There's going to be taller. They're going to be richer. They're going to be more motivated. Like, but what you can offer is just you.
Yeah.
And so whatever that is for us, like being unique and being us is...
And it's like attracting...
Or business or whatever. That's all we can offer to the business, to the relationship, any of that.
Totally. And like attracting things from a foundation of not being yourself, then it's not really actually for you, right? Like if you're attracting it from a different like identity other than what you are currently in, then you're just attracting you're bringing in false shit that's not actually for you. Like you're going to put on this persona for this girl that likes that, and then when you show your true self, she's like, what?
Yeah.
And it's like...
And we've all probably done that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know, like in all aspects, you know, of business, life, partners, like whatever, like trying to be something you're not to get something, then realizing that that's not actually for you. Yeah. Because that's not who you actually are.
I'm mad authentic in job interviews now, because I'm in tech, so it's like, I feel like I can be. Yeah. But I'm just like, I'm so, like in the interview, I'm like, I'm sober. I'll cuss. Like, I don't want to throw them any. If I'm the right fit, totally. Cool. If I'm not, cool. Like, that's great. I'm not trying to get the job. I'm trying to find a good fit.
I love that.
To be vulnerable, I wish I could do it a little better in relationships, but the risks do feel a little higher sometimes. Yeah. I know they shouldn't, but I think I've gotten a lot since entering sobriety, I've gotten a lot better about that.
Yeah.
When drinking, I would kind of
It'd mask it.
And then I would feel more comfortable like telling lies, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I didn't have as many ethics or morals. So it's like I would just lie. And I think a lot of people I shouldn't say a lot of people, like in the sobriety community, it is very common that people reflect on their drinking and be like, I lied.
Yeah.
It just kind of gets rid of those
poison,
morals.
man.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't even think you're lying when you're on it, but you're just like,
yeah,
you're just, it's a altered state. Like it's not a real state of being. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
You know, I love that for you though, man. I feel the growth. I think like the first time I met you, your aura was just very like empowering and positive, and you know, happy to have you here in Austin, man.
Yeah,
just
appreciate
like,
it, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's amazing. I love the story, bro, and I'm excited to now be a part of your journey, like you know, and watch your growth and the podcast and you as an individual.
The journey's young. We have lots to it. I don't know what we're gonna get into in Austin,
started,
but
dude. It is though. It's real shit, man. I mean, my buddy Luke, he came out and lived with me for a little bit, and then went back home to California, and then he was like, dude, I just sat there and I saw like the rest of my life in Newport Beach, and I was just like, I got to get back to Austin because of just the energy that's out here. And, dude, this is truly, I love like I'm a big fan of the movie like Blow, you know, with Johnny Depp, but I love when it's like Los Angeles 1980s or whatever the fuck it was. Like Austin in the 2020s is gonna be like in movies. Like this is the mecca of where shit is really being built. And businesses and CPG products especially are really hot out here, and podcasting and comedy. Like this is a new mecca in this era. Like there's an era happening in Austin, Texas right now, and it's a hot spot. And you know, I think there can be a competitive mindset to that if you're going, oh, people are coming in here, or it can be collaborative. Like
I'm all for collaborative.
Yeah, dude. High seas raise all ships, dude.
Yeah.
Like the pie is big enough for everybody.
Yeah.
It truly is, you know. So I think
you're putting out bad vibes if you're doing the whole competitive thing. Like
it comes back to bite you in the ass, man.
Yeah.
You know, it truly does. If you're just trying to get the one up on everybody, and
be competitive in the gym, be competitive on the basketball court.
Yeah, but you can even be competitive and collaborative. Like, yeah, be competitive internally. Like, just be better than yourself.
Yeah.
The day before. Don't worry about being better than anybody else, and don't compare yourself to anybody else. Because also you don't know the story of that person and them getting to that spot, you know, like and we all struggle with that. I compare myself to people when I'm in that lower vibration, or if I'm not doing the right things, I start to like get insecure and whatever the case is. But it's like, you don't know the story of that person. And that's like no coincidence when you're not doing the right things, that those lower vibrational things and those feelings come up, and you start just rabbit holing and digging a deeper hole, you know?
Yep. I do, man. I do. Well, we'll cut it off here because I feel like we could go till 7 o'clock, and Pops is ready to go.
I can talk, dude. I can talk.
No, me too, man. Pops is ready to go get some barbecue. So.
Oh, where are you guys going?
Terry Black's.
Oh, nice.
Is that a hot spot?
Yeah, it's one of the best in Austin, bro.
Okay, he met the guy. He met a guy on his plane that like knows the owner, like best friends with the owner.
That's awesome.
That's why we're gonna check
it
out.
What was the guy's name on the plane that your dad met?
I forget. I don't even know if my dad told me actually, but yeah. Well, cool, man. Thanks for being on.
Yeah,
how can people find you?
At Kaleb Fossum on Instagram and all the socials. Just at Kaleb Fossum, and then Strong Coffee Company.
Cool, and I'll link it in the pod. But
hell yeah,
hell yeah, destination unknown.
Hence the destination unknown.